Hi everyone, happy Thursday. It's almost the end of the week. Tomorrow's Adventure Friday, which is always a lot of fun, and I love seeing all of your posts. So hang in there. You got one more day of work to do, and I know you can do it. You guys have been doing absolutely amazing. So before I read the BFG to you, let me share my screen and we can go over the daily assignments for the day. So yesterday during our small groups, I was telling the kids, one of my groups, about the full flower moon. And the full flower moon actually happened this morning. And I tell you a little bit about what it is, but it happened at 6:45 a.m. this morning. So if you are an early riser and happen to look out your window and notice the full flower moon, I'd love to hear about it. I got up really early, so I got to see it too. So I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down here. We have our class community circle. So I want you to bring paper, nicer paper if you have it, and any type of coloring materials that you have, markers, crayons, whatever it is that you have, I want you to bring. Today is an on day for your digital journal, and your slide is, what is your dream job? Okay, slide 15. For reading, you are reading chapter 4, and then you are going to do slides 5 and 6. And it asks you in the slides about, or to make an inference. What is an inference? We've talked about inferences before, but I left this brain pot video for you right here. Remember, you just click on it and it'll bring you to the link where the video is. I want you to go ahead and watch that to review what an inference is so that you can answer that question easily. Today in writing, as I told you yesterday, you are using the rubric in your packet to evaluate your final draft. So I actually have your packet right here, and it is the page after your first draft. So you have your first draft, and then the next page is the rubric. You are going to fill out this rubric based on what you wrote for your final draft, and then you are going to post a picture of the rubric to Seesaw so that I can see where you're at and where it's a self-assessment for you. So you're going to evaluate your own work. And I want you to watch this opinion writing rubric explanation and video example, or explanation and example that I made for you. It gives you a full explanation of what this rubric is, what it means, and what to do with it. So please watch that. Math today, you have your video. It's again, perimeter and area. Social studies, you have your 3 slides that you're going to read and complete. And then today's a library day, so I have a link for you that will be there. You can't see it right now, but I'll change that for you. Okay, so now that we've gone over all of that, we can get to the good stuff. And before I start reading the BFG, also, I read to the kids yesterday that were on our morning Zoom session this fabulous book, On a Beam of Light. Thank you to Mrs. Sukumar for getting this for our class. I loved it, and the kids who were online loved reading it as well, so we're really appreciative. It was awesome. So we learned a lot about Albert Einstein, and another shout out to Mila. You weren't on the Zoom call, but we missed you because we all remember the crazy hair on your biography person that you had made because you did Einstein. So if you have facts that you want to share, come tell us in tomorrow's community circle, Mila. All right, time to read. Frobscottle and Whiz Poppers. By now, Sophie was beginning to feel not only extremely hungry, but very thirsty as well. Had she been gone at home, she would have finished her breakfast long ago. Are you sure there's nothing else to eat around here except those disgusting, smelly snozzcumbers? She asked. Not even a fizzwinkle, answered the big friendly giant. In that case, may you please have a little water? She said. Water, said the BFG, frowning mightily. What is water? We drink it, Sophie said. What do you think? Frobscottle, announced the BFG. All giants is drinking Frobscottle. Is it as nasty as your snozzcumbers? Sophie asked. Nasty, cried the BFG. Never is it nasty. Frobscottle is sweet and jumbly. He got up from his chair and went to a second huge cupboard. He opened it and took out a glass bottle that must have been 6 feet tall. The liquid inside it was a pale green, and the bottle was half full. Here is Frobscottle, he cried, holding the bottle up proud and high as though it contained some rare wine. Delicious fizzy Frobscottle, he shouted. He gave it a shake, and the green stuff began to fizz like mad. But look, it's fizzing the wrong way, Sophie cried. And indeed it was. The bubbles, instead of traveling upwards and bursting on the surface, were shooting downwards and bursting at the bottom. A pale green frothy fizz is forming at the bottom of the bottle. What on earth is you meaning the wrong way? Asked the BFG. In our fizzy drink, Sophie said, the bubbles always go up and burst at the top. Upwards is the wrong way, cried the BFG. You must never be having the bubbles going upwards. That's the most flesh-funking rubbish I was ever hearing. Why do you say that? Sophie asked. You was asking me why, cried the BFG, waving the enormous bottle around as though he were conducting an orchestra. You is actually meaning to tell me you cannot see why it is a scrawny mistake to have the bubbles flying up instead of down? You said it was flesh-funking. Now you say it's scrawny. Which is it? Sophie asked politely. Both, cried the BFG. It is the flesh-funking and the scrawny mistake to let the bubbles go upwards. If you can't see why, your head must be full. You must be as quacky as a duckhound. By Ringo, your head must be so full of frog squinkers and buzzwinglers, I is frittered if I know how you can think all that. Why shouldn't the bubbles go upwards? Sophie asked. I will explain, said the BFG. But tell me first, what name is you calling your frog scuttle by? One is Coke, Sophie said. Another's Pepsi. There are lots of them. And the bubbles is all going up? They all go up, Sophie said. Catastrophe, cried the BFG. Upgoing bubbles is a catastrophe. Will you please tell me why, Sophie said. If you will listen carefully, I will try to explain, said the BFG. But your brain is so full of buglefuls, I doubt you will ever understand. I'll do my best, Sophie said patiently. Very well then. When you was drinking this cokey drink of yours, said the BFG, it is going straight down into your tummy. Is that right, or is it left? It's right, Sophie said. And the bubbles is also going into your tummy, right or left? Right again, Sophie said. And the bubbles is fizzing upwards? Of course, Sophie said. Which means, said the BFG, that they will all come swish-boofling up your throat and out of your mouth and make a fassum belchy burp. That's often true, Sophie said, but what's wrong with a little burp now and again? It's sort of fun. Burping is filsome, the BFG said. Us giants is never doing it. But with your drink, Sophie said, what was it you called it? Frobscottle, said the BFG. With frobscottle, Sophie said, the bubbles in your tummy will be going downwards. And that could have a far nastier result. Why nasty? Asked the BFG, frowning. Because, Sophie said, flushing a little, if they go down instead of up, they'll be coming out somewhere else with an even louder and ruder noise. A whiz popper, cried the BFG, beaming at her. Us giants is making whiz poppers all the time. Whiz popping is a sign of happiness. It is music in our ears. You surely is not telling me that a little whiz popping is forbidden among human beings. It's considered extremely rude, Sophie said. But you is whiz popping, is you not, now and again? Everyone is whiz popping, if that's what you call it, Sophie said. Kings and queens are whiz popping. Presidents are whiz popping. Glamorous film stars are whiz popping. Little babies are whiz popping. But where I come from, it is not polite to talk about. Redunculous, said the BFG. If everyone is making whiz poppers, then why not talk about it? We is now having a swiggle of this delicious frobscottle, and you will see the happy result. The BFG shook the bottle vigorously. The pale green stuff fizzed and bubbled. He removed the cork and took a tremendous gurgling swig. It's glummy, he cried. I love it. For a few moments, the BFG stood quite still, and a look of absolute ecstasy began to spread all over his wrinkly face. Then suddenly the heavens opened, and he let fly with a series of the loudest and rudest noises Sophie had ever heard in her life. They reverberated around the walls of the cave like thunder, and the glass jars rattled on their shelves. But most astonishing of all, the force of the explosions actually lifted the enormous giant clear off his feet like a rocket. Whoopee, he cried. Now that is a whiz popping for you. Sophie burst out laughing. She couldn't help it. Pass them yourself, cried the BFG, tipping the neck of the enormous bottle towards her. Don't you have a cup? Sophie said. No cups, only bottle. Sophie opened her mouth, and very gently, the BFG took the bottle forward and poured some of the fabulous frobscottle down her throat. Oh, gosh, how delicious it was. It was sweet and refreshing. It tasted of vanilla and cream with just the faintest trace of raspberries on the edge of the flavor, and the bubbles are wonderful. Sophie could actually feel them bouncing and bursting all around her tummy. It was an amazing sensation. It felt as though hundreds of tiny people were dancing a jig inside of her and tickling her with their toes. It was lovely. It's lovely, she cried. Just wait, said the BFG, flapping his ears. Sophie could feel the bubbles traveling lower and lower down her tummy, and then suddenly, inevitably, dot, 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 something's coming. The explosion came. The trumpet sounded, and she too made the walls of the cavern ring with the sound of music and thunder. Bravo! Shouted the BFG, waving the bottle. He was very good for a beginner. Let's have some more. And that is how that chapter ends. I thought there was going to be more to the page, but there's not. So, Journey to Dream Country is our next chapter, and you'll get to reading that on Monday. So, have a great day today. I will see you at 10. Have an awesome Adventure Friday tomorrow, and have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you guys at our community circle. Bye, everyone.